Nate Diaz has signed, I don't know about a long-term deal, but he's definitely going to be fighting Mike Perry. This will be on the Rousey versus Carano card that, of course, is going to be airing on Netflix. So it's going to be Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry, 170 pounds, 5-round fight, by the way.
May 16th on the MVP Netflix MMA extravaganza. Platinum Perry going back to MMA, looking to shut down Nate Diaz, man. It's an honor, and I got a lot of respect for that guy and his career.
Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry will take place on the Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano Netflix card. So another pretty big name for an event that already has 3 stars and amongst the 4 fighters that we knew about.
Breaking news rocks the MMA world. Nate Diaz is set to return to mixed martial arts for the first time in nearly 4 years, taking on fellow brawler Mike Perry. The fight headlines the first ever triple feature MMA event on Netflix, promising a historic night packed with intensity, skill, and high-stakes action.
Well, keep it going. What's your reaction, Nolan, on that fight?
I think it's pretty good. I think from when we first started hearing about this event, Nate was tied to it in some capacity, and it was really a question about whether or not there was a fight that existed for him out there, right? Who could they give him? Did they want to do the Masvidal thing again, or is that kind of run its course? And they landed on Mike Perry, which I actually like a lot. I didn't necessarily think he was an option because of his, being with BKFC and whatnot, but very interesting. As far as what was available was out there, I actually don't think that you could think of a better option than this out of somebody that apparently is a free agent.
Mike Perry lit up when his fight with Nate Diaz was announced. He acknowledged Diaz's toughness and respected his career, but promised a fierce, high-stakes battle. Perry is focused on delivering an intense, action-packed fight, returning to MMA with full force and aiming to leave a lasting impression.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Oh, man, big announcement. Fighting May 16th on the MVP Netflix MMA extravaganza. Platinum Perry going back to MMA, looking to shut down Nate Diaz, man. It's an honor, and I got a lot of respect for that guy and his career. He's tough, both tough. We're both durable. I'm looking to hurt him and make a really fucking exciting, intense matchup, bro. Netflix MMA, let's go. Ronda Rousey, Francis Ngannou, Platinum Perry back in the MMA.
Before the fight was confirmed, he had already made his intentions clear. He was fired up and ready to step back into real action, calling out challengers and leaving no doubt he was eager for a high-stakes, intense matchup.
Besides that I'm doing a real fight, I would like to fight. I like to fight somebody.
Man, for the right price,
I'm ready to get back in real action. I want to fight either McGregor 3. I want to fight maybe Dustin Poirier if he stopped me to the pussy, and then maybe Mike Perry. We'll see what happens in the future, though.
You want the White House card?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be dope too.
McGregor on the White House card?
America gang, baby. You already know what's poppin'.
Ronda Rousey also welcomed Mike and Nate with full energy, hyping the clash as a battle of the fighters versus the establishment. She fired up the fans for the showdown, while sending a sharp warning to Hunter Campbell in her own style. Ronda Rousey said, "Welcome to the revolution, Nate Diaz and Mike Perry. It's the fighters versus the establishment, and we're going to win. May 16th, only on Netflix. P.S. Hunter Campbell p***ed off the wrong bitch. I'm coming for your job, Ariel Helwani reacted to the news with certainty, revealing that the long-awaited return to mixed martial arts is finally locked in. Helwani emphasizes that this isn't a side venture or crossover, it's a true MMA contest at 170 pounds over 5 rounds. Ariel makes it clear this is exactly what fans have been waiting for, as 2 battle-tested fighters prepare to meet in the cage under real conditions.
It has been added, it is official, the return to mixed martial arts for the beloved and incomparable Nathan Diaz going up against Platinum Mike Perry, 170 pounds, 5-round fight. That is real. And it's not in bare knuckle, and it's not in boxing. It's in the discipline that we all want to see them compete in, and that's mixed martial arts. Nathan Diaz versus Mike Perry at 170 pounds has been added to this card on May 16th.
Ariel Helwani explains that while the UFC was interested in bringing Nate Diaz back, the decision was obvious for the fighter. He predicts the card could become one of the most watched MMA events ever, thanks to its massive global platform. Ariel Helwani said, "I can tell you the UFC was interested in bringing Nate Diaz back, but at the end of the day, this was a no-brainer for Nate. I don't think it's going out on a limb to say this could be the most watched MMA card of all time, because it's on the biggest platform in the world. You go out and win this fight, and all of a sudden you can go back to the UFC and say, all right, the number just changed. This level of competition is great for the fighters and the health of the sport. Luke Thomas also breaks down what he's been hearing, pointing out that discussions had been taking place with the UFC shortly before everything shifted. Thomas suggests the deal never came together, likely due to disagreements over finances or contract structure, even if the exact reason remains unclear. Luke notes there's still mutual respect between both sides, with no real bad blood involved, but in his view, this decision changes everything, as moving forward on this route likely rules out any return to the UFC.
But let's talk Nate Diaz. Let me tell you what I had heard. Let me tell you what I had heard last week. I knew that he was talking to UFC. I don't know why things fell apart with UFC. I don't know if they lowballed him. I don't know if they didn't lowball him, but they asked him for a big deal. You know, as in like 5-6 fights. Remember John Jones, January of 2023, signs an 8-fight deal. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a money issue or a length of contract issue or both. I do know that, you know, as I understand it, Diaz does like the UFC. He likes the people that work there. He has admiration for them. It's not like an acrimonious thing. That I, you know, I've got that on pretty good authority. But what I did hear was that if he went with MVP here, then that would close the door to the UFC completely. So I don't think there's any homecoming for Diaz after this.
On the other hand, there are also some exciting fights coming up in UFC, and without any doubt, the Khamzat versus Strickland matchup will be the most entertaining one. Khamzat Chimaev fired back at Jorge Masvidal and Johnny Eblen after their predictions that Sean Strickland would beat him. Chimaev's response was ruthless and direct.
Like, how do you gotta have a guy in a crucifix and even throw one out at one point? It's like this, like just trying to hang on to the guy. Like,
remember Max Holloway's like, oh, dude, he's gonna take my significant strike. Whatever.
Yeah,
record.
In the corniest way, just like, dude, try to fucking end the guy. You're in a good position. You know, I can't give credit to that stuff. You know, I think Strickland beats him.
I think Strickland gives him a lot of problems because I've trained with Strickland and it's hard. He's not a guy you can hold down like that.
He's not easy to take down, and he's even harder to hold down.
I know, and he's a good striker when you're both tired. Like he's gonna run his hands, man.
You know.
And then also when he smells blood, he's very good at like attacking, like taking advantage of it, you know. Very, very high level fighter, very high level IQ. I love training with him.
Jorge Masvidal doesn't hold back, aiming at Khamzat Chimaev with brutal honesty. He mocks Chimaev's style, claiming he relies too much on clinches and distractions instead of proving himself in the cage. Masvidal warns Chimaev should focus on his fight, predicting that Strickland will push him to the limit and expose his stamina.
He commented on the Death Row podcast Instagram and said about you, Johnny Eblen, and Sean, all three of you same night.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing about that is that you ain't gonna kill nobody by hugging anybody to death, you know? You better stop with that crotch sniffing shit, especially if you're talking to me, brother, because your legacy is always going to be known for sniffing other dudes' crotches. You know, every time you've had a chance to prove somebody wrong, all you do is you sniff crotches. And instead of worrying about what I'm talking and posting about, because this is what I do, you should be worrying about your fight, you know, because your gas tank is trash, brother. And Sean's about to test your gas tank, you know. So maybe keep your eyes on the prize and don't worry so much about me, sucker.
Meanwhile, talking about the matchup and boring fight rumors, Sean O'Malley jokes that the only way a fight with Sean Strickland could be dull is if Khamzat Chimaev completely dominates. He compares the matchup to Chimaev's versus Dricus Plussis, suggesting that while Strickland brings intensity, Chimaev's overwhelming style could set the tone for an all-action bout.
I just can't imagine Strickland being a boring fight. And I guess I could, because Khamzat could be that dominant, could put him on his back, and Strickland not really wrestle up because you don't want to get in the front headlock. He doesn't want to give up his back. Just kind of lays on his. I don't know, but it's definitely possible this is going to be a similar fight to DDP. But I feel like Sean's going to make it fun, crack him.
How much you know? We haven't really seen Strickland grapple that much. I've seen him in the gym with clips, whatnot. He looks like he can grapple pretty proficiently.
He's known for being a really good grappler. Definitely haven't seen it much in fights that I can think of, but I feel like I've always heard of how good Sean Strickland wrestling, grappling is. We're definitely going to find out how fucking good it is.
Khalil Roundtree highlights Chimaev's relentless work ethic, noting that it might look like overtraining to some. He explains that what sets him apart is his discipline, training twice a day every day, regardless of location or circumstances. For Khalil, it's this unwavering routine and commitment that shape him into a true champion.
I think it can be commonly mistaken by a lot of people as overtraining, but the way that I see it is it's discipline. Discipline in his daily time, you know, like every day, no matter what, we're training 2 times a day. And I think that's really what makes him a champion, is that it doesn't matter what's going on, where he is in the world. This schedule is, it's nonstop because he lives this, he breathes this. So, and it shows in his daily routine.
Khalil Roundtree calls training with Chimaev both brutal and humbling. He explains that the sessions pushed him beyond what he thought were his limits, forcing him to reevaluate his own fitness and mindset. For Khalil, the experience was an eye-opener, revealing just how far Chimaev's intensity can stretch even seasoned fighters.
Very intense. Everything that I expected. I knew that it was going to be a push. I knew that I was going to come in here and do my absolute best, but yeah, it was painful. There were definitely moments where I would call them humbling, because it makes me just question certain things that I even say about myself. Sometimes I think I'm really good or in good shape, and then I face a workout like this, and it makes me realize that there's so much more to go. And so it's eye-opening, and overall good. Strong group of people, strong group of guys, strong coaches. Man, I'm exhausted, but we're gonna go to the beach now. Good recovery.
Khalil further points out that Chimaev's training setup is on another level. He keeps a team of fighters ready to go at a moment's notice and commits to 2 intense sessions every day, setting a pace few can match.
The biggest difference that I see between Khamzat Chimaev's training camp and other guys is that he's got a team of dedicated fighters on call, and he likes to train twice a day. It's a really cool thing to experience and to be a part of, because it makes me feel like, yeah, this is what we do. Like, we're fighters. We can do whatever we need to do at any given time.
Daniel Cormier also reveals that Chimaev pushes his training partners to the limit by offering financial incentives. He's essentially placing a bounty on himself, encouraging everyone around him to go all out, test him, and try to submit him, creating the most intense preparation possible. Daniel Cormier said, "I have heard Chimaev wants people to go so hard with him to try to beat him and submit him, he's paying them. Chimaev's putting a bounty on himself to make guys give him all that they have." On the other side, Sean Strickland's coach Eric Nixick points out that the clash between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland carries extra intensity beyond the title itself. He notes a strong competitive edge between the two, warning that emotions could overshadow strategy. For Nixick, this fight is as much about personal pride and bragging rights as it is about championship stakes.
You know, the title is important, I think, for everybody, but this has like a different vibe, different feel to it. You know what I mean? It really does. I think there's just like this competitive, you know, nature between the two of these guys that they, you know, I hope they don't make it a more of an emotional fight than a tactical fight. But I feel like there's more emotions that are riding on this than the title actually is important to them. I think it's more of like about bragging rights.
If anything, I feel like Khamzat may be at risk of being more emotional than Sean. It feels like Sean's really trying to press his buttons, and that could work in Sean's favor.
Agreed.
Which would be very interesting. Obviously, we've never seen really like an emotionally charged Khamzat. What do you think? Are you thinking 25 minutes? You think this goes the distance?
The reality of it is I think with both their styles, yes, I do. But you just never know, man. Like in this sport and in MMA, like, you know, one wrong move or you can get knocked out or you can get submitted or whatever it may be. So I think for us in realizing and forming a game plan to keep our guy in the best positions to win, you know, that's going to be the focal point. We can't be putting ourselves on the cage, and we can't be, you know, stuck in these positions because this guy's just a wet blanket, man. He's going to stay on you, and he's going to be constantly mat returning you and re-wrestling you, you know. So space is going to be the priority for us.
Last thing on Khamzat, your take on his last performance. Some said it was...
Eric Nixick praises Chimaev as a complete athlete, noting his size, strength, and explosiveness. He highlights Chimaev's ability to mix speed, power, and fluid movement, seamlessly combining strikes, feints, and level changes. For Nixick, the fighter already looks ready for a heavier division, and every aspect of his game matches the hype surrounding him.
By the way, this is great because I don't even know how much longer Khamzat's going to be a middleweight for, right? Like, he wants to go up to light heavyweight. heavyweight. He's looking freaking huge. When he was training with you guys and he was at welterweight, you were holding the pads for him. Did you feel that kind of power from him, the power of someone that could be like a light heavyweight, even though he was fighting at welterweight at the time?
Yeah, 100%. Speed, power, quickness. And I've said this time and time again, he has such a great blend, meaning like he ties in his level changes into his striking. It's not a la carte. It's very good MMA striking. You know, he'll bite you with a feint, he'll hit you with a level change, he'll come up with punches. Once you put your hands up to cover, he's back on the hips. Just all around great athlete, man. Like he's as advertised for sure.
That wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts on the fight in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest news and insider breakdowns.